It was the kind of night that clung to your skin, damp, heavy with fog, and the air thick with mystery. The town of Millbrook was always quiet after dusk, but on this particular evening, an unsettling silence seemed to swallow the streets whole. No one could have anticipated what would happen next. Lily Harper, a 16-year-old girl with bright eyes and a passion for photography, was missing. She'd gone out for a walk, as she often did when she wanted to clear her head. Lily lived in a small, sleepy town, so it wasn't uncommon for people to wander alone through the thick woods just outside the city limits. Her parents hadn't been worried at first. She had told them she was going to take some pictures of the sunset, a hobby she had developed over the last year. But by nightfall, when she hadn't returned, a gnawing anxiety began to settle in her mother's chest. The search began immediately. Millbrook's tight-knit community rallied together, combing through the woods, calling her name, but there was no sign of her. Hours turned into a full day, and still, Lily remained nowhere to be found. It wasn't until the third day, when a team of investigators arrived, that the truth began to unravel. Detective Laura Graves was assigned to the case. She was known for her sharp instincts and her ability to read people and situations with unsettling precision. She arrived at the Harper household, a small cottage on the edge of town, and met with Lily's parents. "What do we know about the last time anyone saw her?" Laura asked, her voice soft but commanding. Lily's father, James, was a tall man, his face etched with lines of worry. "She left around 4 p.m. She told us she'd be back by sunset." "She always comes back, Detective. We've searched the woods for miles," said Lily's mother, a tremor in her voice. "There's no trace of her. No sign of struggle, nothing. It's as if she just vanished." The search was expanded, and for days, the investigators combed through every inch of the woods surrounding Millbrook. But nothing. No footprints. No evidence. Just the endless expanse of trees and shadows. It was as if Lily had walked off the earth. Then, on the fifth day, a breakthrough came. A hiker, lost in the same woods, stumbled across something unusual, something that shouldn't have been there. A camera, its lens cracked and its memory card still intact. It had been buried under a pile of fallen leaves, but the hiker, curious about the strange sight, had dug it out. The photos on the camera were haunting. Most were ordinary, pictures of the woods, trees, and the sky, taken with a genuine eye for beauty. But then there was the last photo, a blurry, almost distorted image of Lily herself, standing in front of an old, decaying building hidden deep in the forest. The image was grainy, but you could make out the fear in her eyes. Laura's gut twisted. The building was something she had never seen before, and it seemed to be far off the beaten path, hidden from anyone who knew the woods. What was Lily doing there? The next morning, Laura led a team to the location. After hours of searching, they finally found the building, a forgotten structure from the town's past. It had been abandoned for decades, and the woods had slowly claimed it as its own. As they approached, a chill seemed to settle in the air, and the building's broken windows stared out like hollow eyes. Inside, the air was thick with decay, the floor covered in layers of dust. A sense of foreboding clung to the walls, and as Laura moved deeper into the structure, her flashlight illuminated something that made her blood run cold. Lily's body. It was sprawled out in a small room, her once vibrant hair matted with dirt, her eyes wide open in a permanent expression of terror. But what struck Laura the hardest was how lifeless and still the room was. There was no sign of struggle, no marks on her body. She had simply died. The autopsy report the following week offered no clear answers. There were no signs of foul play. No obvious cause of death. It was as if Lily's heart had simply stopped beating. As Detective Graves stood over the final report, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. There was a presence in the woods, something that had been hiding for years, waiting for the right moment. The town of Millbrook would never be the same again. The woods, once a place of peaceful walks and quiet reflection, now held a secret that no one could explain. And the truth? Well, it was something no one would ever speak of aloud. The investigation ended with no clear answers. And as the fog rolled in over the town, the shadow of Lily's disappearance hung over Millbrook forever. But some stories aren't meant to be solved. Some mysteries are better left in the dark.